started. If you guys have joined, let me know where you're dialing in from. It is a beautiful day here in San Francisco, California.
Someone says they haven't had a Mai Tai since Hawaii.
Oh, and I have my good friend and assistant for today, Cindy, man in the comments. Say hi, Cindy.
Hi, everyone. Oh, somebody loves your new shirt.
You like my new shirt?
I think that's sarcasm. Don't you wear that shirt every time?
This is my same shirt I wear every time. I did actually switch it out to a new black shirt like about 3 months ago. The other one's getting pretty ratty.
Oh, we have Eduard from Slovakia.
Slovakia.
I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Hello, hello.
Somebody from Vegas. Oh, 2 people from Ohio.
Oh, shit.
Sweden.
Sweden again. I love Sweden. I got a lot of Swedish people dialing in. Love you guys. Vegas. Okay.
Bolivia.
Bolivia. Hola. Who's from Bolivia?
Frank is from Bolivia.
Hey, Frank. Thanks for tuning in.
I was just looking at a picture of the salt flats today on Instagram. We have Switzerland.
Switzerland, nice. I feel like we have more international people than U.S. people. That's pretty awesome. Uh-oh, Cindy's laughing and not telling me what they're saying. That scares me.
Bricks and Builds wants to let you know that you are his favorite chemistry teacher. And he or she is from Scotland.
I'm not sure what that says about your actual chemistry teachers, but thank you.
Somebody is from Poopsville, USA.
From where?
Poopsville, USA.
Oh, Poopsville. Right on.
I'm going to guess that's Arkansas.
Yeah.
Did I just heavily offend your Arkansas?
Nice, Cindy. Nice. Poopsville. Yeah, sounds terrible.
We have somebody staying up late over in Germany.
Oh, wow. Danke for tuning in. Do they have Mai Tais in Germany? That's a good question.
Oh, from Turkey. Another Ohio. Man, you got a big Ohio contingency.
Oh, right on. Ohio.
Represent Midwest.
We'll get started in like 2 or 3 minutes. And if you're making this cocktail alongside me, I'd be curious to know as well. What you got?
You have Ian from Hawaii, so
Oh.
pressure's on.
Uh-oh, Ian. I was just in Hawaii. The Mai Tais there were not as good as the ones we're gonna make today. I will say that. They love to do a little float of rum on top in the ones I got in Hawaii. But we're gonna make sort of an old school traditional version today.
Someone asked you what your favorite bar in Atlanta is.
In Atlanta. I've been to Atlanta once, and I don't think I went to a bar when I was there. So I don't know. If anyone else is from Atlanta, you tell me. How many people we got so far?
215.
215. Okay.
People are getting
Okay.
anxious for some cocktails.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'll introduce the ingredients while we wait for a few more people. Can you see all these in the back of the video?
Yes, they're a little blurry.
All right. We're gonna bring these up closer once we start pouring, but we're gonna need a couple rums. If you guys are making this at home, any of your favorite rum will do, preferably a dark rum, so get that ready. Then we're gonna do dry curacao. This is a form of curacao. We'll talk about this a bit more later, but if you have a triple sec, a Cointreau, Grand Marnier, any of that will substitute fine for this. This is a rich simple syrup. Any simple syrup will work for this. The traditional recipe we're going for is a rich simple syrup, which is a 2-to-1 ratio of sugar to water. And then some orgeat, spelled like this. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. O-R-G-E-A-T, orgeat. It's French. It's like an almond. Think of it like an almond simple syrup. You can make this at home. I have a recipe for this in one of my other videos. I think it's my mocktails video, but we're going to be using a store-bought version just for the sake of simplicity today. And then you're going to need some mint as well. This is kind of a sad-looking mint leaf, but mint's going to be crucial for this guy. And then some lime juice. So those are the ingredients. Yeah, we'll get started shortly.
Gio would like to know what your favorite drink right now is.
My favorite drink right now, I've been drinking a lot of Amaro, actually. Amaro is like a bitter liqueur, like a bittersweet liqueur. Like Fernet is a category of Amaro. And so there's this drink called the Paper Plane that uses Amaro Nonino, which is awesome. There's also something called an Amaro Sour, which I might do a video on soon, which is delicious. That and probably a Mezcal Negroni. Those who watch this channel a lot will know I like to swap gin for Mezcal in a lot of my drinks, and Negroni's a great spot to do that. Cool. Should we get going? Right on. All right, guys. So we're gonna make the Mai Tai. Almost everyone's heard of a Mai Tai. It's probably the most famous tiki cocktail, and there's a ton of history behind it. So we'll start by talking a little bit about the history and who came up with this. There are these two guys, Trader Vic and Don the Beachcomber. These were some guys back in like the 40s who were basically competing to have the best tiki bars in the country, and so they're both based out of California, if I recall. And so there's like some debate as to which of them actually invented the Mai Tai, and the original Mai Tai recipe was sort of obscured for a while because they were very secretive because they were so competitive. But this was eventually discovered to be the recipe for Trader Vic, and is actually on the menu at one of my favorite tiki bars here in San Francisco called Smuggler's Cove. Here's their book. If you ever make it out to San Francisco and you like tiki, you have to go to Smuggler's Cove. And this is the recipe that they found in their book, and some of the research has unearthed that this is the original Trader Vic recipe. All right. So we're going to put this together using a couple of those ingredients we talked about earlier. We usually start with the cheapest ingredients first when you're building this out, because in general, like if you mess up the drink while you're building it and you've been using the cheap ingredients first, then you can chuck it and it's not super expensive. So we're gonna grab our Rich Simple and we're gonna grab our lime juice. If you have a hand squeezer, grab that as well. You always wanna have fresh juice in these. That's sort of the point of these craft cocktails. So we're gonna do 0.75 ounces or about 22 mils of lime juice.
Nick, a few people think you're drunk already.
Oh.
Can you confirm that you are just wasted right now?
Wow. I'm actually like pretty sober right now. I had a pretty big day yesterday. In the US, we like to celebrate Cinco de Mayo as like a Mexican holiday, even though I don't think they actually celebrate it in Mexico. So there was a lot of margaritas consumed.
Makes one of us.
Right.
Somebody also would like to know if you know how to make a potato Aruba cocktail.
Potato Aruba? I've never heard of that before.
Don't, that's a joke. I think this is the person that was from Scotland, so maybe it's a local thing.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that the person from Poopsville? Hey, if you're making this at home and you've just squeezed that lime juice, one of the key things you're going to need to do is actually save this guy and sort of press it out. We're going to use this later. It's part of the garnish, so hold on to that. All right, we got 0.75 ounces, or about 22 mils. And drop that in here. Next, we're going to do our rich, simple syrup. So this was made, when I made this video, someone asked me why it's dark. So I used like a dark cane sugar for this one. You can also use like a Demerara sugar, any of your favorite sugars. And you basically do 2 parts sugar to 1 part water and reduce it a little bit in a saucepan. And so it gets sort of that thicker consistency. It's not actually twice as sweet because of that. It's about like a little over 1.5 times as sweet. But it's good for this. It's gonna give us some sweetness without taking up too much volume. We're gonna do, I believe, a quarter ounce of this. So what is that in milliliters? Like 7 mils.
Math. There's been a few people asking about Moscow mules. I believe you already have a Moscow mule video.
Oh yeah.
So
People are asking like
just off to the right.
right. Yeah, search Moscow Mule on my page. I actually make a homemade ginger syrup in that is freaking awesome. Highly recommend it. Okay, so we got simple syrup. We did our lime juice. And now let's do our orgeat. So we're going to do the same amount of orgeat as we did the rich simples. That's a quarter ounce or about 7 mils. This brand is pretty good. It's called Small Hands Foods. I don't know if you can get it international, but they're pretty good in the US. They add a few nice things to it. But it's basically an almond simple syrup. You can think of it basically like that, or like a sweetened almond milk. So we're gonna do another quarter ounce or 7 mils of the orgeat. Dump that in. All right. Next up is our dry curacao. So curacao is of the same family as like triple sec, which is also of the same family as like Cointreau and Grand Marnier. These are all types of orange liqueurs. The dry curacao, this one from, what is it, Pierre Ferrand. I don't know if I said that right, but that is it's like a French brand. I believe cognac is sort of the base spirit, blended with cognac. And it's a little, when you say dry, you mean less sweet. That's typically what dry means. So dry curacao, this was a little bit less sweeter than like your average triple sec. And this is what the original recipe calls for. If you have plain triple sec or Cointreau, that's totally fine to use here as well. So we're gonna do half an ounce of this guy. Half an ounce or about 15 mils for all you international folk. Dump that in. Is anyone actually making this live with me right now? Or are you just here to watch me fumble around?
So a lot of people are just saying they're making midnight cocktails since it's pretty late at night.
I respect that. If you're not making a Mai Tai, I'd also be curious what you actually are making. And when I think this light is supposed to light up if anyone does a super chat, thing like that. So if you want to make sure I see your comments, you can use one of those super chat features. And also helps support the channel.
So there's a few of you guys here that sound like you're quite young and not old enough to drink, but I think Nick has a really good video on mocktails. So those are non-alcoholic beverages, so give that a twirl.
Oh yeah.
This video.
Yeah, yes. Mocktails, non-alcoholic cocktails, which I think should be designed to be mocktails and not just stripping the rum or the vodka out of an existing cocktail. So if you're looking for some non-alcoholic stuff, those are pretty tasty. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on those. Okay, so what have we got? We basically got our sweet and our sour. We've got a little bit of alcohol from the dry curacao, and now it's time for the rums. Okay. Now this is where it gets interesting. You can use whatever rum you like. This drink is meant to showcase some of the rum, and usually the funkier, more bold rums come through a lot better. And so actually the original rum that Trader Vic used back in the day for this was like a 17-year-old rum that like ran out of stock and he had to sort of switch it up. So you can't actually even get that anymore. And most bartenders who are trying to recreate that flavor actually use a combination of a Jamaican pot still rum. Here I'm using a Hamilton, which is like, it's pretty funky and pungent. Like, you really will taste that one. And then this rum Martinique, which is like called an agricole rum, which is made from like pure cane sugar. And it's a little more mellow. So you get a little bit of funk, you get a little bit of mellow, combine those together, and it's a really nice sort of balanced flavor.
Somebody, I think, did a super chat, but the light did not turn on.
Oh, did our light not go on? Maybe we're not hooked up. Well, we'll see if that fires back up at some point.
I think it was
Let me see. I have to like dim this. Hey Google, set brightness to 0%.
This isn't a sponsored ad, we promise, guys.
Setting the light brightness to 0%.
Okay, thanks Google. Yeah, not a sponsor for Google Home, but that is how you control these sort of smart lights. Well, what was the question or comment?
The question was, did the light turn on?
Did the light turn
Well,
on?
we have another one from RZ Rider, and he says, love your vids, even though I can't drink, hoping to take a trip to Mexico when I turn 18 and drink some tequila, and a 1961 Merlot.
Oh, there we go. There's the super chat. Ooh, that's bright.
Philly Fail says, keep up the great work and channel.
Oh, right on. Thank you so much.
I love when YouTube comments are positive.
Yeah, me too. If you guys haven't seen my Nick Reads Mean Tweets video, I do an annual recap of like my favorite comments, and a lot of them are hilariously mean. Highly recommend checking that out. You got to take the good with the bad. Cool. Anything else noteworthy? How many people we got right now?
We have got 359.
Oh shit, 359.
Pretty good.
Thanks, y'all. And thank you for everyone who's like staying up late to come watch me babble on.
Looks like a lot of people are actually following along with you. Can you just quickly go over what is already in the container? What you've already poured in.
Okay.
Orgeat,
Yes. Yeah, I'll do a quick recap before we do the rums. So what did we add so far? We added the orgeat, we added the dry curacao, we have added some lime juice, we have added this rich simple syrup, and did I miss anything? That was it, right?
Apparently, you saying that just turned on a few other people's Google Homes at their house.
Yes, I should take advantage of that and fuck with you guys a little bit.
Now say Alexa.
Yeah. Hey Alexa, tell me a joke. All right, let's see what happens with you guys. Actually, my favorite one is the drop a beat. Let's see if Google still does it. Hey Google, drop a beat.
Okay, put your hands together for MC Sound File.
All right, we got Google dropping a sick beat in the background while we make some Mai Tais. So we got. All right, Google. Hey Google, stop. For F's sake, come on, guys. Cool. Oh, and also, if you've been making this along, you need to save this little lime half. We're gonna use that for a garnish. All right, we're talking about rums. So I'm gonna be using half pot still, half rum Martinique. Use whatever rum you like. Ideally, something that's a little stronger to come through because this is like getting mixed with a bunch of other strong stuff. So we're gonna do 1 ounce or 30 mils of the funky Jamaican pot still. And then we're gonna do 1 ounce or 30 mils of the rum Martinique. A little bit more mellow. All right, so that's starting to look like a Mai Tai right there. Okay, put this away.
Oh, my day is going really well. Thank you for asking.
Is that a question for Cindy?
It was for me. Don't worry about it.
For those who have tuned in later, my good friend and assistant Cindy is manning the comments.
Unpaid assistant.
Unpaid assistant.
I'd
Well,
just like to point that out.
I might have to pay you in a Mai Tai in a second here. Okay, so next up we're gonna crush some ice. That's one of the signature parts of this. To do that, we are gonna use this mallet. Find the biggest, baddest mallet you have, and I'm gonna use something called a Lewis bag. This is designed for crushing ice. If you don't have a Lewis bag and you're gonna crush ice along with me, you can use like a big bar towel and just put some ice in that and sort of like fold it up. That'll work as well. We're gonna put about 10 cubes of ice and start smashing. All right.
Everyone in the comments from not in the U.S., I do agree with you guys. The America is very prude when it comes to drinking ages. So we're aware that most of you guys have had a head start on us by like 4 or 5 years.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was kind of expecting the 21-year drinking age to be loosened up at some point. But what happens is, like, Americans, you know, we're not legally allowed to drink in high school or in, like, up until we're 18. And then we often all go off to university. It's our first time out of the house. And a lot of people just kind of go a little nuts with drinking because it's like the first time they can really do it freely. And I don't think it's a good thing. I think we should think about changing the age.
At my college, we actually had a rule that you could go into a bar when you were 19, but you couldn't drink.
Really?
Which was kind of pointless. But as soon as you got in, it's a weird local state law, as America is known to have.
Where was this?
Illinois.
In Illinois, yeah. That's really funny. All right, we're gonna smash now. It's gonna get a little loud. We want to break this up into pretty fine chunks. Oh, thank you for that.
Oh, RZ Ryder says, it's funny how you can go to the army but can't drink. Completely agree.
Yes, you can die for your country but not drink a beer.
Buy a gun, you can do all of these things.
All right, cool. We're gonna smash these up. Here we go. Watch your fingers. All right, almost done. Turn down your volume.
Probably should have mentioned that at the beginning.
I probably should have mentioned that. I think probably woke up a bunch of people who were like falling asleep watching this.
How much do your downstairs neighbors hate you?
Right now, significantly. All right, sweet. This looks pretty pulverized. The benefit of a Lewis bag is it's like this cloth that'll absorb some of the moisture. So like, because when you crush ice, it starts to get exposed a lot to the warmer air and starts to melt pretty quickly. So the Lewis bag sort of absorbs that, so you don't get a lot of excess water when you pour this in. Okay, cool. What are we doing here? We are now going to shake this up.
We've got another super.
Oh, hello. Oh, there it is.
Mr. G-Man9 says, first I gotta say, I absolutely love your vids, and I actually employ a few of your techniques in my own bar at work.
Oh, right on.
I gotta ask, do you keep up with / know Jim Meehan and Jeffrey Morgenthaler?
Jeffrey Morgenthaler. I don't know them personally. I've interacted with Jeffrey Morgenthaler a little bit. I actually gave a talk at the annual Tales of the Cocktail event, which for those in the industry, that's sort of like the big industry event in New Orleans every year for cocktails. And it was all about using video to like express your, to tell your story and like grow your brand and accomplish whatever objectives you have. And Jeffrey Morgenthaler was some guy I cited as someone who uses video really well. He's got like a hilarious personality. Like, go watch his videos. I think he's on the Small Screen Network channel. And if you're ever out in Portland, definitely make it to his bar. I'm forgetting the name of it. Clyde Common, actually, that's what it's called. So, and he's got a book, I think, as well. A couple books that are pretty good. I think it's called The Bar Book. Anyway, great people. Check them out. Highly recommend it. And thank you for the super chat.
Somebody is asking what your apartment smells like.
I don't know, Cindy. You just came in here. You tell me.
It doesn't really have a scent. I think that's a good thing, right?
I took out the garbage right before you came in here, so maybe that helps. What it smells like? I mean,
I feel like they want me to say something like, "Oh, sandalwood and mahogany,"
or just
I feel like that would match your voice.
just cognac and whiskey. And I'll give you a sneak preview of the next video. Some of you guys have been asking for it. It's the atomic cocktail from a video game called Fallout, and I end up recreating the original atomic cocktail, which was back in the 50s in Vegas, and it's got like a shit ton of like cognac and vodka in it. It is actually pretty terrible, but my apartment smelled like cognac for like for like 2 hours after that.
Well, we got a super chat
Uh-oh.
from RZ Rider. Says, closest thing I've had to a shot was chugging hot sauce for a girl. Damn, I'm desperate. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Did it work? Would that impress you, Cindy, if someone did that?
You know, it depends on the situation. It depends on the hot sauce.
Okay, if it was like a really hot
If it
sauce.
was like maybe above like a 50K
Scoville unit?
yeah.
Okay.
Not that Cholula stuff.
Yeah, not if it was like a sriracha.
That wouldn't get you far.
No. There is like, if you go to New Orleans, you can do like these oyster shooters that it's like oyster and like vodka and hot sauce. And it's actually not bad. But once you're of drinking age, go for that.
Bas van de Izel? Sorry, that was terrible.
Beautiful.
Would like to know, I'm sure you get this question a lot, but how many black shirts do you own? Since they always look so crisp.
I own one now, and I'll try to do a little quick steam and like a lint roll of it right before going on camera.
Sidebar, Nick is currently waiting for a sponsorship from some sort of shirt company.
Oh yes, yeah. If you
So
work for a black shirt company, hit me up. I will totally sell out for that.
XJ Denton, another super chat, say, can you recommend a cocktail based around, I think that's soju? Is that the Korean?
Soju. Man, I haven't actually really dipped into that category yet. It's on my list. You've just reminded me that that's something I want to do. In fact, actually, I'm going to be starting a whole series around, I'm going to call it something like cocktails from around the world. So the international audience might appreciate this. I'm going to pick a country and do like one cocktail from that country and try to go to all like the major countries that have interesting cocktails. So soju, it's big in Korea, I believe.
It is. The motherland for me.
The motherland.
Travis would like to know if he doesn't have the almond liqueur, can he use amaretto?
Can you swap amaretto? I would say it wouldn't be terrible. It's not really a direct
Really
swap.
sold that one, Nick.
I know, right? It's not really a direct swap because like orgeat, the almond syrup, is not alcoholic, right? It's just an almond syrup. So, and an amaretto is alcoholic, so it's gonna mess things up a little bit. But it's actually pretty easy to make. Check out the mocktails video I did. If you can't buy any orgeat in the store, you can just buy some almonds, blend them up, strain them out, and then add some sugar. It's pretty easy. This is gonna start to melt if I don't shake it up, so we're gonna do that now. Actually, one thing we're gonna do, we've added in the crushed ice here. You also want to have some bigger cubes to help with the texture and help like mix it up. So we're gonna add in like 2 bigger cubes to this. So I just use these like square, I think they're about 1 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch. We're gonna shake this for like 15 seconds or so, and then we're just gonna dump it in the double old-fashioned glass. You want that tin to be nice and frosty, and I'm using this Boston shaker. The trick again is to hit it right where the glass starts to come in contact with the tin. See a little bump right there. It'll come off really easily.
That was today's segment of ASMR with Nick.
That's right. If you want me to get in close, here we can pour this right up to the mic. All right, we're just gonna dump this right in. There's some nice pleasant noise after the banging on the crushed ice for a while. Look at this. Beautiful. Okay, now it's time for the garnish. So the way you're gonna garnish this was sort of the original way, is you're gonna basically create the effect of an island and a tree growing out of it. So that's what this little half lime, the half spent lime wedge is for. You're gonna sort of tuck that right there. And then you're gonna take some mint. Now the mint has some of the aroma and oil sort of inside some of the sort of granular areas of the leaf right there. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very typical to like clap it first to help release some of that. Just give that a little clap, and you kind of want to get the aromas all over there, and then you're gonna sort of tuck it right behind this right here.
We've got a response to the hot sauce shot question.
Oh yeah.
So
How'd it go?
Says yes, the hot sauce was hot as hell. She was Italian as well, so she had her fair share of alcohol.
Oh, okay.
But first, he asked, what is the one thing you have to have in a cocktail in your opinion? I'm assuming that aside from the alcohol.
Aside from the alcohol, that's an interesting question that you have to have, like, that I personally prefer. I'll say, like, you have to have balance, basically. Like any kind of sour cocktail, you need to balance the sour element, usually coming from like a hard citrus like a lime or lemon, with like the sweetness. And actually the cocktail calculator that I built, you can find on my website, actually helps you balance those cocktails. Shameless plug. Okay, here's the garnish. I don't know what happened to this mint. It's kind of a pathetic mint leaf. Ooh, thank you for that.
We've got Mr. G-Man.
Mr. G-Man again.
Says, recently started playing around with using wines as an ingredient in cocktails. What's the weirdest ingredients or techniques you've used?
Oh, the weirdest that I've used? I mean, wines that's a good one. I want to do some like low ABV style cocktails with wine. I'd say some of the most unexpected ingredient I typically use is salt. And it actually functions in a very similar way to like baking, where a pinch of salt will bring out the sweetness and tamper some of the bitterness. So I usually have a little saline solution, which I got right here. This is basically just like 20% solution of salt and water. And this is, you'd put like a couple drops in a sour cocktail and it brightens it up. If you really want to try this out, take 2 shot glasses of Campari, which is like a bittersweet liqueur. Put a little bit of saline solution in one of them and compare. It'll like blow your mind how different they are. So that's it. That's like the weirdest, I guess. We got another super chat.
This might be my favorite super chat so far.
Uh-oh.
Buck62407 says, Bloody Mary full of vodka. Blessed are you among cocktails. Pray for me now in the hour of my death, which I hope is soon. Amen. And that is from
What?
Archer.
Is that Archer? Oh shit. Good
Sorry,
reference.
I couldn't do it in the Archer voice.
Good.
You got a better Archer voice than me.
Good reference. I should do more Archer cocktails. There's like
He's got a lot of
there's like 50 Archer cocktails I need to do. I've done one video on it. I think it was the peppermint patty on it. Okay.
Gio, can I just cry into my cocktail instead of saline?
Wow, this is getting dark and
You
deep
know,
over here.
for the person on a budget, I think that's a great alternative.
That's true. Yeah, if you can't afford table salt or you have bad water, yeah, just cry a couple tears into the cocktail.
Just watch the first 10 to 20 minutes of Up and cry into that cocktail.
Yeah. Oh God, that's such a sad scene.
So sad.
Up. All right, let's try this goddamn cocktail already. It's just sitting here tempting me. So look how nice and beautiful that color is. This garnish is. This mint is a little sad. I was hoping it was like fresher, but it seems to have died in my fridge overnight. But it's meant to be like a tree coming out of an island in your drink, and when you get your nose in there, like you really get that mint aroma. So let's give that a sip. Let's get right up to this microphone right here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good. Cindy, you got to get after this.
All right.
Oh, that's nice.
That is delicious.
You want to hold on to that?
Sure.
All right, that's for you.
This is my payment.
That's your payment. Yeah, most Mai Tais are like, you'll see them often with like a float of rum on top. And like, you know, we had some from Hawaii earlier. Oftentimes there they use like this sweet and sour, not sauce, but the sweet and sour mix. And not fresh juices, but like, man, if you really make it from scratch, it is the best.
People did not like you slurping your cocktail into the microphone.
You guys don't like when I get in there? Okay. All right, noted.
And I do agree with the person who said, Philly Phil, who said, next time make a second Mai Tai so we can both enjoy them.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
you're so stingy with your Mai Tais.
maybe I'll make another drink. We got some time. First of all, did anyone actually make this alongside me? I'm very curious to know who actually makes this live and who's just tuning in for the lulls.
You guys think Nick should make another drink? And also, Bricks and Builds asked, what are your thoughts on his favorite cocktail, the very basic brown cow, although this person does add a little bit of Bailey's.
A brown cow? I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Oh, now brown cow.
What is a brown cow? Does anyone know what that is? I've actually not heard of that drink. I'm guessing something with milk. And maybe cacao or like some chocolate.
A lot of people are joining in, or like they said that they've made it with you.
Oh, nice.
So,
Well, how was it if you made it with me? Let me know.
this thing is strong.
It's a little strong, right? I don't think these are overproof rums. Let me see. So the rums I used, they're a little higher octane. Like this one's 46%. This one's 44%. So a little stronger, but it shouldn't be much stronger than your average cocktail. So yesterday was Cinco de Mayo, which I said is celebrated by a lot of people here. A lot of margaritas consumed. It was also what we call Derby Day. The Kentucky Derby was yesterday. So a lot of mint juleps were consumed. So basically everyone was choosing between a mint julep and a margarita to drink. Why don't I make one of those? Any preferences? Mint julep versus margarita? I've got the stuff for both of those, I think.
So apparently a brown cow is a Tia Maria and milk.
Oh.
I don't know what Tia Maria is.
Tia Maria, yeah.
Or Aunt Maria and milk.
Tia Maria was like, it's definitely a liqueur that was like popular in like the 80s, I think. I don't own any Tia Maria, and I've never experimented with it.
Oh, it's Kahlua milk with a little bit of nutmeg.
Oh.
That sounds
okay.
delicious. It sounds like I feel like that would be an airplane cocktail.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad. I like the 2-ingredient cocktails as well. Let's see. A mint julep would require more smashing, so you guys might not want to hear any more smashing. Should we do a margarita? Any thoughts?
It's either between the julep and the margarita. So.
Okay. Okay.
We've got a super chat from RZ Ryder saying Cinco de Mayo is literally never celebrated in Mexico. Never. It's just an excuse to sell stupid Americans beer. I think that is very accurate, and unfortunately, it's super successful. I think it's like Corona's biggest sales day.
Oh, I'm sure.
Of the year. Yeah.
Corona, Pacifico. I'm sure the tequila brands go nuts with it. Well, thank you for the super chat. Well,
Mr. G-Man 9 has a super chat and he's requesting the mint julep.
The mint julep. Well, because the Cinco de Mayo holiday is a bit of a blasphemous holiday and is not authentic, let's not celebrate it with a margarita and instead do a mint julep. Just a heads up, we're going to do some more smashing then.
The more you say smash, Nick, the more comments you solicit.
Come on, guys. Come on, head out of the gutter. All right.
I hope you guys are drinking this along with me because this is delicious.
It's pretty good. Check this out. We got a little julep cup right here. This is not real silver or anything, but yeah, the julep was like definitely a big status symbol back in the day, and you would have it in like your julep cup that was like super nice and like definitely showed off that you were of the upper class. This is some cheap shit from Amazon.
Hey Nick, when did you start making cocktails?
That's a good question. I started making cocktails at home in, I'd say probably like 2012 is when I got going. I really kind of kicked it up in 2013 when I took a class at Bourbon and Branch here in San Francisco. They do these like cocktail 101 classes, and it kind of teaches you the basics. And so once you understand like what are the building blocks of a sour cocktail, what is a spirit forward cocktail, I kind of got like inspired to keep it going. So that was really when I started.
Oh, Mr. G-Man would also like to know, what's your most hated drink?
My most hated drink. Let me think on that. Gotta get my muddler. A giant muddler. My most hated drink. I mean, there's a lot of really bad drinks. The atomic cocktail I just made in my last video was freaking terrible. You'll see my reaction when I release that probably this week or next week. the most hated drink that I think is like popular, I would say I'm really not a fan of like a vodka martini. Like people like
I was gonna say a Cosmo or something.
Cosmo,
Like that. Kind of gross.
like ones that like are just really heavy vodka. I can't get into. Then it's not that interesting, unless you're really just trying to showcase another flavor. So I'd say like a vodka martini is like it just doesn't do anything for me. And thank you for the super chats, guys. That's really awesome. Those go a long way in supporting the channel. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, the Flaming Homer has got to be your grossest drink that you've ever made.
Oh, like the ones I recreated. Yeah, the original Flaming Homer is like ridiculous. It's also kind of hard to tell exactly what's going into that drink, but there is like an official recipe that Fox and The Simpsons came out with that I followed. It's not good. It's not tasty. All right, so we've got the way we're gonna make this is a bunch of different variations, but we're gonna use a classic New Orleans style method, which is you got your julep tin, you've got like 4 or 5 sprigs of mint in here, and we're just gonna gently muddle the mint in the glass. And it's important to be gentle because you are trying to release some of the mint oils, but if you press too hard, you release some of these like bitter I think it's like chlorophyll or something like that that's inside the mint leaf, and it actually makes it bitter. So like when you see someone like really going to town on like a mojito and just going nuts with it, it's actually making it a little bitter, but you really just want to take a little bit of care with it. And then this method actually requires that we discard this mint once we're done muddling it. So we're just going to trash this. Enough of that.
So unlike the Mai Tai, you don't clap that because you end up muddling it, right?
Yeah, so clapping and muddling you're kind of doing the same thing. We're gonna clap it. We're gonna clap some mint when we garnish this. You'll see. But for now, we're just kind of gonna get those aromas like in the lining of the glass. So now we need some more crushed ice. Let's get the Lewis bag.
So as much as I do understand the reason for the Lewis bag, it really seems over-engineered for what it does.
Yeah, it's basically a way to sell more bar products. I mean, you could totally use like a dishcloth and wrap it up in ice. It is kind of nice to have because it kind of folds over and it makes it a little easier to like keep all the ice in there, because as you're smashing it up, it's like moving around and it could like fly everywhere. So you do kind of want to keep it contained a little bit. So that's the idea, and they're pretty cheap, man. I think I got this on Amazon for like $6 or $5.
So I think a few of you guys are saying the image is a little overexposed. I think that's kind of just
Oh yeah.
happens with YouTube live videos, right?
Yeah. So this came up last time, and I've been yelling at Google to try to fix it. But basically, I do these live videos streamed from my mobile device, and when you do that, you actually can't like fix the ISO or the contrast or the light exposure. So some stuff gets a little washed out. I think they'll probably fix that soon, so I can like dial it down a little bit. But sorry about that; it's a little washed out. I know. All right, we're gonna smash this up right now. So.
I suggest you guys turn the volume down.
Yeah, Cindy. Good warning. If you're lying in bed, if it's late over there, turn that volume down because it's gonna get a little loud for a second. Here we go. Alright, a few more cubes in here. Alright, man, this thing is soaked. Okay.
Epic Snail 14, I really appreciate that you're reminding Nick to make 2 drinks, one for me this time, but I'm still working on this first one, so I like the shout out.
They appreciate you, Cindy. Alright.
So we got a super chat here, Mr. G-Man 9. As a 20-year-old bartender, bless Arizona, and aspiring mixologist, I gotta say thank you once again for the beautiful shit you post. Now, if you have any ingredient, what cocktail would you make?
If I had any ingredient, it'd probably be some kind of infusion. Actually, there's this ingredient that I love to use that just kind of takes a little while to make and is a little messy, but it makes like one of the best cocktails. It's like it's actually in my EC Whipper video. If you go back and find that, it's like you basically take some turmeric and you like some fresh turmeric and you like chop it up and then you put it into this EC Whipper, which I'll show you right here. This is an EC Whipper, and you take that turmeric, chop it up, put it in here, put in some like Plymouth gin and a couple nitrous oxide chargers, and it just does this thing called a rapid infusion. So Dave Arnold talks about this in his Liquid Intelligence book, and it makes this like really intense turmeric gin, and it's a super nice flavor. And so you just make like a gimlet with that, so like gin, lime juice, and simple syrup, and it's this bright orange cocktail that is amazing. It's just that ingredient. It's a little bit hard to get, and it's like kind of messy. You know, turmeric stains everything. So I would say if I had some of that right now, I would love to make what Dave Arnold calls a glow sour.
Ooh, this is a good response back to what your the worst garbage drink is. Somebody says, isn't it the Long Island?
The Long Island?
But I think you might have made a better version.
I did make a better version, actually. In the this was when I recreated the one of everything from The Office. Michael Scott makes this drink where he just pours a bunch of liquors in, and that was pretty terrible. But when I remade a better version of that, it was basically a Long Island iced tea, and it's actually pretty good. I recommend it. Go find that video. It actually surprisingly tastes like tea, even though there is no tea in it. For some reason, those ingredients in the Coca-Cola mixed together like taste like tea. It's really weird. Actually, one of my least favorite things I've had recently, which someone brought into my office, is called Malort, and you might be aware of this, Cindy.
That's from my hometown of Chicago, Illinois, baby.
It is so bad. I don't know how it's so popular. It's like the most bitter thing I've ever tasted.
I would describe as it tastes what burning hair smells.
Okay, it tastes like burning hair smells.
Growing up in Chicago is kind of like a rite of passage.
Right.
You had to take your shot. So.
If you guys ever see it.
Also popular amongst Chicago Blackhawks players.
Blackhawks players? Oh, interesting.
Bricks and Bills would really like you to know that in the UK you can drink at home legally from the age of 4, and then at 16 you can drink with your dinner if it was bought by an adult, and at 18 you can drink anything. Although you are not allowed to drink in a bar. From the age of 4? Is that actually written in your laws that you can drink?
4? You can drink at home with your parents? Is that what it was? Like if like an adult bought it, you can drink at home?
Yes, so.
That seems
irresponsible.
Rub a little.
Sometimes the kids aren't falling asleep. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Rub a little whiskey on the gums and get them to pass out.
Hey, I'm liking all of these fellow Chicagoans in the comments here.
Oh, are there some Chicago folks? Right on. Oh, this is getting a little messy. All right, we've got a crushed ice. We kind of want to make like a snow cone effect here. Really, just like I'm just gonna go nuts here. Pile it on. And you kind of want it to come up like a little above the glass. For those just tuning in, yes, this is a Mai Tai video. We finished our Mai Tai. Cindy, my lovely assistant, is now sipping on it, and we are going to make another drink, the mint julep, because it was Derby Day yesterday, and now I need a beverage. Okay, so look how frosty this is. The crushed ice just gets things a lot cooler faster. So we got this nice frosty julep cup, and now we need our whiskey and our simple syrup and a little bit of mint, and that's gonna do it. So I gotta pick a whiskey now.
I agree. Nick and Babish should do another collab together. I think these guys text each other. They're like bros. So maybe something cool will be coming your way soon.
Maybe. I do like Mr. Andrew Ray.
Oh my God. Parker said that his buddy took a shot of Malort with cheese and microwaved ham because he lost a bet. That would just come right back up for me.
That's... What was the bet? I'm curious what the bet was. I'm going to use some Whistle Pig. This is pretty tasty. This is a pretty nice whiskey. You don't have to go super nice with this one. But I'm going to use some Whistle Pig because I haven't had some in a while. And then we're gonna need some simple syrup. You could use the rich simple syrup, but I have some like regular 1-to-1 plain simple syrup here, which I'm gonna use. Okay. So the way this is gonna work is we're just gonna, looks like kind of like a snow cone there. Oh man, that looks nice. Drizzle that in. A little bit of the syrup on top. Sweeten it up. And then now we just need some mint, and we should be good.
RZ Artist says that his dad used to work for the company that would make him give him Blackhawk box seat tickets. One year they all went, and it was so great food too. So the funny thing about the Blackhawks is, growing up in Chicago, you couldn't pay people to go to games for the longest time, and now the tickets are going for like $300 to $500.
Oh my
each,
God!
but it's,
Damn. So like all the bandwagon fans who are now jumping on it are like getting shit from the OG fans who supported them when they weren't good.
And we live in San Francisco, so we know a little bit about bandwagon fans.
Yes, we do, with the Warriors. All right, we got our mint. We're gonna clap this guy. And it really brings out that strong aroma. And this is not the most beautiful sprig of mint, I'm sorry. But we're gonna try to prop that up a little bit here. You want like a nice bouquet of mint coming out of your glass. Because you really want, like, you're not gonna use a straw for this. You really just wanna like get your nose in it, and so you want like that mint to kind of just be resting right there. So cheers, guys. Yeah, cheers, Cindy.
Cheers.
Thanks for helping out.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Want to answer one more question? I feel like it'd be a good one to end on.
All right, I can answer one more, and I'll also mention for Patreon patrons, I do these sort of like after parties over on my Patreon. I got a link in the description. So about 5 minutes after this live stream ends, I'm going to hang out for about another 45 minutes or so and chat with those guys. Another good way to support the channel. But thank you for all the comments. What's this last one here?
What's the biggest fail you've ever had when making a video?
Oh, shit. Actually, it's funny. We were talking about that using the EC Whipper. This guy. I had a big fail when I was doing the rapid infusion because, like, when you do the rapid infusion, you put a lot of pressure in here, and then you're supposed to then release all that pressure really quickly out this little like spot right here. And the faster you do it, the better infusion you get. So I was like releasing it, and it all just sort of exploded out and all over my table, and it was like this bright turmeric infused gin that stained the crap out of everything. I've had a couple where like I was just sort of being sloppy with the shaker and I was thinking of something else, and like that just exploded everywhere, which kind of like blows up the whole video shoot because everything gets wet and dirty and I gotta like reset up, and that like that's another fail. I should like probably save these and do sort of like a behind the scenes failure compilation. A bloopers reel, if you will. That's a good idea. Cool, guys. All right, we've been here for about almost an hour now. Appreciate all those who stayed up late to join for this live stream. We're gonna try to do one of these every month, and I'll put out some polls and solicit your guys' advice on what you want to see. Thanks again for tuning in, for all the support of the channel. Love doing these, interacting with you guys. Until next time, cheers, and thank you, Cindy, for moderating.